Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast, the place for scrappy entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran and former brick-and-mortar boutique owner who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot about your brand messaging. We've talked about uncovering the psychology behind why people buy, not just to own a product, but to solve a problem, feel a certain way, or express something about their identity. We talked about how your customers are craving transformation, not just transactions, and that if your marketing isn't tapping into these emotional triggers, you're making it harder for them to buy from you. Then we looked at how to keep your messaging fresh and relevant, even when your product doesn't change, because we know what worked 6 months ago might not work today. Whether it's a seasonal shift, a cultural moment, or just a new mindset your customer is in, your message needs to evolve with them. And last week, we talked about high-impact, low-effort tweaks you can make to improve your results. Things like sending people to a bestseller versus your homepage, promoting one product instead of multiple, and making sure you're overcoming objections right next to the Add to Cart button instead of burying them in a forgotten FAQ page. And while I gave you a ton of little tips and tricks along the way to guide your customer through a more intentional, cohesive journey, there's one piece of your marketing puzzle that we didn't talk that much about. The most impactful way to bring all of this to life, the highest leverage system in your business, and often the most underrated, your email automations. Now, there's a lot I can say when it comes to building a kick-ass email automation suite, and I definitely have on this podcast. I'll stick links to other episodes in the show notes. But today I wanted to talk specifically about what it looks like to apply these concepts that we've been talking about to your email automations, because there is no other marketing channel that will make an impact as big or as quick as automated email. The first thing I want you to take into consideration is to match your timing and content to the customer journey. This is one of the biggest lessons I want you to take away from everything we've been talking about. You need to meet your customers where they're at. And this is the same with your email automations. Now, sure, it's not always easy to know exactly what every individual subscriber needs to hear, especially when we're talking about emails that run 24/7 in the background of your business. But there are clues you can use to figure out what to say and when. For some automations, it's pretty straightforward. A checkout abandonment email versus a post-purchase flow, those are clearly different customer moments, so of course the messaging would shift. But what about your welcome series? If you're collecting subscribers through multiple methods like a discount pop-up, a product recommendations quiz, paid ads, or even in-person events, are you sending every single person through the exact same welcome flow? Does it make sense to do that? Remember that not all subscribers land on your list for the same reason, and they're not all starting from the same place. This was one of the biggest unlocks for my email badassery students. Acknowledging that the customer journey starts before someone gets your welcome email, and that experience shapes what they need to hear next. If someone signed up through a quiz, they're probably still in discovery mode, figuring out if your brand is right for them and which products they should consider. If someone goes straight for the discount, they might already be on the edge of buying. They just need that final nudge. And if you think about it, those two people, they probably shouldn't be getting the same first impression of your brand. This is where I will always come back to one of my favorite e-commerce marketing principles and this question that I ask myself. How can I recreate the in-person experience on the internet? If you were talking to them face to face, you wouldn't launch into the same pitch with every single person. You'd ask questions, get context, meet them where they are. So while you can't have that back and forth conversation over email, though you could get fancy with answers from a quiz or a survey if you really wanted to, you can take what you know about how they found you and use that to tailor your message. Even just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it will get you a lot closer than sending everyone through the same cookie cutter flow. Now, does this mean you need 4 completely different welcome series? Maybe. Or maybe it's just as simple as changing the first email. It really depends on your business, your product, your lead sources. But here's what I want you to think about. Your email subscribers are not a monolith. They're not all at the same point in their journey. And your automations shouldn't treat them like they are. So start asking better questions, start noticing the clues, start thinking about how you can serve your subscribers more intentionally based on what they've already done and where they're trying to go. Because when you do that, you're not just sending better emails, you're creating a smarter, more strategic customer experience that actually moves people toward a sale. 2, talk like a human. I see so many people get stuck here. They sit down to write their automations and suddenly forget how to talk like a person. It's the moment they go and type the welcome email and they turn into this weird version of themselves that sound nothing like the brand they've built. And I get it. When you're writing something that's going out automatically to potentially thousands of people, it's easy to overthink it. You start wondering if it sounds professional enough, if it needs to be clever or polished or copywriter level good. You do not need to be a wordsmith. You do not need to write like a marketer. You just need to sound like you. That's what builds trust. That's what keeps people reading. And that's what's going to get people to buy. Stop trying to write the perfect email. Just write the way you talk. Infuse your personality. Say the things you'd actually say if you were talking to a customer one-on-one. Be clear, be conversational, be yourself. If you're not sure what words to use, look at how your customers talk about your product. And I don't mean the fluffy adjectives like gorgeous or high quality. I mean the actual language they use to describe what you sell. Are they saying maxi or ankle length dress? Are they saying dainty or stackable? Are they using terms like clean beauty or sensitive, skin safe? These are the words you want to be using in your emails because they are the words they're searching for, clicking on, and resonating with. So if you've ever found yourself staring at a blank screen, trying to come up with the perfect subject line, or stressing out over every sentence in your welcome flow, take a breath. You don't have to sound fancy, you just have to sound like you. And if you're really struggling, try speaking what you want to say into your phone recorder and then transcribe that into your email. Bonus points, grab the AI brand brief and teach your favorite AI tool how to write like you. 3, personalize beyond the first name. We all know that personalization matters, but most people stop at, hey, first name, and call it a day. And while yes, that's better than nothing, you're really just scratching the surface. Real personalization goes way beyond just inserting someone's name. It's about creating a dynamic experience that actually reflects where your customer is in their journey with your brand. And think about the tools you're already using in your business. Do you have a rewards program? Start surfacing that data inside your emails. Show your customers how many points they've earned, what they can redeem, or how close they are to unlocking a reward. Are you using AI-powered product recommendations? Lean into that tech to showcase items that actually make sense based on their past behavior, whether that's what they browsed, what they bought, or what customers like them tend to love. Do you have a brick and mortar store in addition to your website? Use conditional content to automatically display location-specific info inside your automation so you're not showing visit us in store to someone who lives across the country. These are the kinds of personalization strategies that make your automations feel more relevant and helpful without needing to create a whole bunch of different branches in your flows. No, it won't be perfect, but it will be way more effective than sending the same thing to every subscriber, regardless of who they are, where they came from, or how they interact with your brand. And you do not need fancy custom builds to make this happen. Most of the tools you're already using, for example, Klaviyo, your rewards platform, Shopify, can support this with just a little bit of integration between the two. Just start thinking about what data you already have access to and how you can use it to talk to your customers like real people, because that's what personalization really is. It's not a whole bunch of bells and whistles for the sake of it. It's being thoughtful. It's showing your customer that you see them and making them feel valued by your brand. Last but not least is to add demand triggers into your flows. In episode 321, we talked about creating demand instead of waiting for your customers to magically want to buy again. Well, your automations are the perfect place to bake that in. Let's say someone buys a product with a typical 60-day repurchase cycle. Are you sending them a reminder to reorder around day 50? Or maybe it's been a while since someone has shopped with you. Are you keeping them in the loop with what's new and exciting? If you're not doing this, you're missing an opportunity to intentionally guide your customer back to purchase without having to send campaign after campaign after campaign, although you should also be doing that too. Remember, your customers are not constantly thinking about you. You are just not that important to them. So it's your job to pop back into their world at the right time with the right message and the right product. And your automations are, of course, the most efficient way to do that at scale. At the end of the day, when you nail all of this and your automations are actually doing their job, your new subscribers are going to feel connected to you right away. Your abandoned carts won't get ignored. Your customers are going to feel seen and heard. You're going to turn your repeat buyers into loyal VIPs. And your marketing is going to work even when you're not, which is my favorite thing about automated email. You could spend hours rewriting product descriptions and stressing over Instagram captions. But if the one system that speaks to every single customer isn't optimized, you're just spinning your wheels. That's why I believe in email so much. And I will die on the hill that if you want better messaging, better conversion, and overall better results, you've got to optimize your email automation. If this episode has you realizing that your emails might need a little TLC, you are not alone. Most e-commerce business owners either set them and forget them or feel overwhelmed trying to build them from scratch. And that's why I created Email Badassery. Inside, I walk you step by step through how to set up these exact automations, what to include, when to send them, what to say, how to optimize for revenue without sounding salesy. It's built specifically for product-based businesses like yours, and it's everything I've learned setting up email automations for a 7+ figure e-commerce store and working with tons of other entrepreneurs just like you. So if you want to turn your automations into the hardest working part of your marketing, this is how you do it. Whether you do it with me or do it yourself, I just want you to take action because it truly is one of the smartest, most impactful things that you can do for your e-commerce business. And I'll stick a link in the show notes where you can get more information. If completely revamping your email automation sounds too much like a chore, you do not have to do it all at once. Take it flow by flow, optimize a little bit here, a little bit there. Think about where the majority of people are moving through right now. If you are in a growth stage of your business where you are getting a ton of new people signing up to your list and your welcome series isn't quite converting the way you wish it would, maybe put your energy there first. If you're more in maintenance and it's really about those repeat customers or you're working on increasing your retention, then put your energy into those emails first. You do not have to do everything all at once. And that, my friends, is a wrap on this week's episode. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a kick-ass rest of your week, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more about growing your e-commerce business, get started with my free resource library at ecommercebadassery.com/free stuff and get an invite to the Lounge, my e-commerce marketing membership. When you're ready for one-on-one support, apply to work with me at ecommercebadassery.com/apply. Before you go, would you do me a quick favor? Leave a rating and review and tap that follow button. This pushes me up the chart so I can support more scrappy e-commerce entrepreneurs just like you. I'm on a mission to reach as many as I can, and I could really use your help. Thanks so much in advance. Until next time, e-commerce friend, stay badass.